Welcome back, everybody, to the fun house that we call Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host, Jeremy, and I've been out chicken hunting all fucking day long, so get off me, dog. It ain't hard to tell I have a New York state of mind. The deception of the idea of the world is yours is like clockwork on this planet every day, and it makes me sick. The damn loons sing a love song every day to make sure we're back to the essence of the merry-go-round on this earth on a daily basis. But we all know this shit. My co-host, though, he knows as well that life's a bitch, especially with the bugs on his nuts. He sings his Southwest song to lure travelers into his house of mirrors so he can make love to them and beat with the alphabet aerobics. You may ask him why Mr. Johnson's head is in his locker, but then again, who asked you? Just keep an eye out for his wagon, because you know you could be another dead body dragon. Chancy motherfucking Greif.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody, to... Yes, I was very proud of that intro. I took a lot of time on that one. But we, of course, bring you another amazing guest to talk music with us, because, you know, everybody loves talk music. And our guest tonight is Miguel Landestoy. Hope I pronounced that right, because I forgot to ask beforehand. But Miguel is a musician and podcaster, and we're glad to have him on. Well, they're all about what he does a little bit later on. But first things first, how you doing tonight, Miguel?
Oh, we're doing all right. It's a hot one up here in Boston, and we're just trying to keep it cool, keep it chill, which is pretty easy with some of these records. So excited!
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
you're in Boston?
Yes, sir. Where are y'all at?
I'm in Gardner.
No way! That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm in Iowa.
Yeah.
But shit, I did not know that. That's fucking awesome.
Massachusetts, born and raised. So I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, happy to be on with you all.
Not Massachusetts, born and raised. We're going to get into that a little bit too. So yay! Because your album kind of relates to that, but we'll get to that in a minute. But folks, you see, before we get to that, I saw that you were a musician, Miguel. What type of musician are you? Because I didn't really see anything where it actually specifically said like an instrument or singing or blah blah blah.
Gotcha. So I'm actually a jazz musician. I play the piano.
Nice.
Yeah. So I grew up playing classical music and stuff, as you do when you stick a kid in piano lessons. But from there, I kind of branched out, did some alternative rock stuff, and ended up studying music and learning a bunch of jazz and stuff. So just jazz mostly. I was going to say jazz adjacent stuff, but that's what I do for work for the most part. I also do some other stuff, but it's all music related.
That's awesome.
Well, sure, that's what's up. And I also saw you have a podcast, a movie podcast, though not really a music podcast, but like a movie podcast.
That's true. I host a podcast alongside my co-host Jay, called Play Black, where we talk about arts and culture from the perspective of artists of color. I'm a musician. He is a writer and an actor. And we talk about it from the perspective of artists of color. I'm Dominican or Afro-Latino, whatever you want to call it. And my man's black. And we just give it from that perspective. I also have another podcasting project where I talk to artists of color about their unique journey through their art, but also what brings them joy. Because a lot of times we talk about the art and how focused they are on the art, but we don't actually talk about the nerdy shit that gives them life. So
nice.
Yeah. So
that's what's up. That's impressive. Well, I have to give this disclaimer before I ask you what album you brought, because he did give me a choice of 3 albums and I kind of picked one, but it's only because the one I picked has not been brought on the show thus forth, and I thought it definitely was about time that this artist came on the show with an album. So, and the other 2, I had no idea who the fuck they were, and I gave them a quick listen, and I was just like, we're going with the one I somewhat know.
That's totally fair.
So what do you want to bring?
Yeah, no. So not Nas Illmatic was my like kind of entrance into hip hop when I was a kid. My brother is a huge influence on me. My older brother, he has like 5 or 6 years on me, and whatever he was listening to, I was listening to because that's kind of how it worked, right? Like he didn't have tons of stuff to. There weren't as many ways for us to listen to just be able to listen to stuff on YouTube or Spotify or whatever now like nowadays. So I took the CD off of his like CD tray next to like the mountain of a computer, and stuck it into the first CD player I ever got, and I was like, I know I'm playing a lot of classical music right now, but I love this like early mid 90s hip hop sound like so much. It was like so like ingrained in my brain. So yeah, the kind of prompt that y'all bring, the like something that was like really important to you at a really important part of your life. That was the first like hip hop album that really like stuck in my brain and gave me a love for it. So yeah.
Well, Chancy, I'll let you go first for the reviews on this one. What did you think
Okay.
of Illmatic?
Oh, I mean, I've been a fan of Nas ever since the first time I had heard. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Illmatic that I first came across as far as Nas. I honestly always felt that he deserved to get more flowers than what he got at least until recently anyway. There's been a lot more flowers being given out, but like I don't like to use the term underrated because it implies like a lack, which I inherently disagree with. But outside of like KRS-One and other lyricists that are like that, one of the things that caught my attention about Nas was the fact that he was one of the types of rappers that made the lyrics work.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could do something with the most minimal beat, and he would create like the sub beat, I guess, of a secondary layer of music just outside of the lyricism, just the way like the way that it's presented. That was fucking awesome. And Illmatic is essentially, if you ask me anyway, it's the quintessential Nas album. I mean, it's like it just in my opinion, it came out in like the wrong 5-year period. If it would have been moved 5 years later, I think it really would have set the world on fire.
Yeah, I agree with that. In that, like, I don't maybe obviously like I wasn't like around in 90, or I was around in 94, but I wasn't listening to Nas in 94, right? But
I was a weird kid. Like I didn't have much exposure at my fingertips, but what I could get a hold of, like I grabbed it and ran.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, looking back on it, the things that captivated me so much, because I actually hadn't listened to this record in a while, and giving it a re-listen to be ready to talk to y'all. I was like sitting with it, and I'm listening to all these samples, and I'm listening to like all these like kind of what has turned into like lo-fi beats that to chill to kind of samples, mostly sampling jazz and stuff, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, this was like built in my DNA, like from the jump, like backbeats and like cool jazz harmonies, like piano samples, bass samples have always been like a part of my like musical identity. So yeah, I completely agree. And like it's funny, like I've always seen Nas as someone who's completely like respected. And the Flowers piece, I don't know, maybe it was like Hip Hop Is Dead, that 2004 record, like it was good. There were a lot of great things on it, but it wasn't like as much of a classic as Illmatic was. And then yeah, I don't even really know what Nas is doing right now. I know he's just hugely respected in the game, but not necessarily.
Yeah.
in that upper echelon, you know.
That's kind of what I'm getting at more so is like he was always respected. That never I don't want to take away from that in any capacity. I'm talking more so just like being not only, I hate to use the term eclipsed because it indicates a lesser connotation, which I don't believe is there. But like you had like, you know, Biggie and Jay-Z and like all the New York groups, just all the New York people hitting hard, and they basically owned most of the 90s, like
Sure.
outside of course, you know, you got the West Coast thing, and then you had the Dirty South rolling in. That was more late 90s, early aughts, outside of course, you know, like Two Live Crew. Everybody knows, you know, I mean, everybody knows that South Florida game. But but I always felt, while still getting the respect that was of course rightfully deserved, he didn't get the accolades that I felt that were deserved of a man of such caliber and talent. Like, it's sorry.
I honestly think that can be said about all three of the artists of tonight.
Oh, 2/3, I agree. 2/3, I 100% agree. 33% of the fucking equation here is definitely not up for that discussion. But yeah, 66.6% of this show are 100% not received their accolades, especially in their time of shine, like Nas in this case, or an upcoming album to be named at a later date within this show.
I'm sensing tension.
Oh no, this is the weekly thing. It's always something.
There's weekly tension, dude. Who the fuck you can? But well, this particular Nas album, I was aware of it from a young age because certain songs were in certain pop culture that I took part of at a young age. But his dual releases in '99 were where I really got into Nas. I will say that. I mean, the first exposure I ever had to Nas was my cousin listening to. Well, let's just put it this way: my cousin turned on a song in the car one day when we were driving around, and all I hear is "Escobar Caesar has returned," and what became one of my favorite rap songs of all time. It was fucking "Hate Me Now" from I Am with Puff Daddy on it. Like that became like an anthem for me in fucking sixth grade. That became an anthem for me. And then shortly after, I heard "Shoot 'Em Up" when what the hell was that one? When Nostradamus came out, and like those two songs were always the Nas I really knew, and I fucking loved his anger. I loved the messages he was putting across with those songs. Like, it's amazing. Like, the amount of releases he actually has in a 15-year span is ridiculous, and not, like Chancy said, it's not respected enough. And yeah, nowadays, if you look on like the list of the greatest rappers ever, he's always in the top 10. Usually top 5 sometimes, but he's always in the top 10. But it's just, I mean, I've seen him in the top 2 actually. I've seen him in like usually one. I've seen him 1 or 2 on a lot of lists. So I mean, people respect Nas for who he is, but it took a long time. When I was a kid, he definitely wasn't one of the ones you heard. You heard Puff Daddy. You heard not even Usher really, not even Nelly shortly after. But I mean, you heard Puff Daddy. I mean, these are the ones I heard as a kid, at least. I mean,
well, yeah, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting the delay there, I guess.
I mean, Dr. Dre, Eminem, you heard those names by this time, but you didn't really. Nas was there, but only like real rap fans, like my cousin, liked it and not liked it, but actually listened to it on a regular basis. Like, yeah, you hear Big Tupac by then too, of course, because they both already were freaking dead by this point. But it's just, I mean, Nas wasn't respected, and this album is really, it's a good album. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's by the best shit he's ever done, but it's a damn good album, and my top 5 will show why. But it is a really, really good album. I mean, it's a classic. It's up there on a lot of. I could tell you, I've been putting together a lot of like rap-based brackets lately for our specials we do, and I had 3 or 4 of these songs because I could tell on Spotify when I already had things in like different playlists, and 3 or 4 songs in this are in a lot of playlists already. So like a lot of the songs in this album are respected as some of the best rap songs ever. So whether it be in the '90s or of all time, a lot of them are on a lot of lists. So he definitely gets the respect he deserves because these lists all come from rankers, so that's people ranking shit. So, and that's the people. That's not critics. That's not other rappers. That's the people ranking shit. So he's definitely respected at this point. But it just seems like he fell off the map for a while. But I guess he actually has been putting out a lot of albums in the last. I mean, he had a dual release last year. He had releases the last 4 years straight. So, I mean, he's still putting out stuff like crazy. I never checked. I didn't even know he's putting out stuff though. There's just no. I would say it's bad marketing. I'll just say it's bad marketing if I don't even know you're putting it out, because I hear about a lot of shit I don't care. I hear about a lot of shit I don't care about, and I mean Nas I would care about.
I get like, to kind of go back to what I was like talking about previously, just for a moment. Like, one of the things that I mean specifically, like, especially more so about like what you're talking about, where there's that period where like you had no knowledge of this person, which is an unfortunate turn of events in and of itself. But like, I first found out about Nas by watching like the interviews that they would do and that they would show on like MTV and like early stuff like that. And they would always be asking like, oh, hey, who are you listening to? And then like, you know, whether it was like Busta Rhymes or Fat Joe or Big Pun or any of those guys, like almost every time I heard Nas. Oh, Nas. And then this, and like a whole list of other people that they'd be talking about at the, you know, it's just, that was what got my attention. It's like, okay, well, why are they talking about this person? And why don't we know about them? Like, what's the story here? And so this would have been like somewhere probably like mid-late 90s, probably like maybe 98, because, you know, like I had just got like a new computer and the internet and all that stuff was really kind of taking off. So, you know, went to the old Napsterino and just started typing in Nos and downloading all the viruses I could possibly get just to figure out what I could figure out. And actually, my my number one off of my list actually was one of the songs in specific that I got off of Napster.
Yeah, and also probably got the biggest virus of all of them. But I mean, yeah, Napster was a shit show. But and all its post-successors too of the fucking, after it got taken down by Metallica's stick. But I mean, yeah, it's Nas. I fucking, as soon as you put that album up there, I'm like, you know, nobody's brought fucking Nas on yet, and that's a crying shame right there. I mean, we've had DMX, we've had Dre, we've had a bunch of Snoop Dogg, we've had a bunch of rappers, but we just never had Nas. So I was like, all right, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have Biggie and Tupac and all this shit. We need to have Nas on. So
yeah, the other two were obscure jazz records. I think we wouldn't have had it. Maybe not have had as much as talked about. I don't know how big of jazz fans y'all are.
I mean, Chancy would have fucking dug it like crazy, but I might dug it. Jazz is hit or miss to me in 100% way. I mean, but Chancy loves it.
I'm a fan of good music. There's the only genre of music that I kind of have any real aversion to is polka. It's hard for me to like. I don't hear polka beats and I don't hear polka songs and think to myself, that motherfucking that's a banger, or that slaps, or whatever.
Yeah, that dude, that guy on the accordion, he's really like getting it right now. He's like getting
right, just pumping the shit out of that accordion.
I do know some like smaller accordionists, but even then, it's like you have to be like an amazing accordionist to like really like sell me something outside of like those really like accordion heavy genres. It's a
right.
You were gone for a minute, and we're already talking about accordions, my dude. So
I fucking, as a Weird Al fan, I respect accordions. So, yeah. And Chancy Harley said she'll remember that.
I remember what?
How much?
Oh, polka. Oh, well, whatever. Yeah. That's fine. If she wants to fuck around and find out, I will bring my nuclear option, and we will all fucking hate our lives. I don't care. I'm the crazy guy with the dead man switch. I've already listened to this once. I will listen to this again, and I will drag you all with me. I don't care. So the ongoing joke is that I I call it the nuclear option, but it's an album that I found that is so awful that I could not listen to it.
Oh boy.
And
I'm not gonna ask because I don't want that bad juju on me, but
oh no, I wouldn't tell you anyway because it's a secret. See, it's one of those things where, like, since I know Jeremy's personality and style well enough, he won't know until he listens to it that that he's fucked. But like, because like it's all gonna be so appealing to him in all the worst possible ways that play towards the his personality, and then the moment he pushes play, he's gonna go, "Oh my god, this is it." And then he's gonna be stuck. He's gonna be stuck for 61 fucking minutes of just guttural torture.
Oh, your nuclear option? Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about the nuclear option. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. I have some nuclear options too. I haven't yet to bring, so you never know. That would be an interesting show, to say the least. But see, the problem is I picked my album first before Chancy, so it might be payback on another episode because I won't know what he's bringing until I already have chosen mine. And I don't know. I don't want to lose a guest because we both choose nuclear options. So, I mean, if it's Harley, that's one thing that we can fuck with her, and I don't give a shit. But because I know she's not going to get that bad. But well, what would you say are your top 5 on Nas's album, Miguel?
Top 5. So, probably my favorite song on the record is "The World Is Yours." Between the sample, the hook is so clean and memorable. It just sticks in your brain. Probably followed by like "Life's a Bitch." It's like a classic refrain, right? It's just so like all up in your face. And I think I just remember it being like the first time I was like, I didn't grow up with money or anything. I didn't grow up like destitute as Nas did, though.
Right.
But hearing some like the plight and just the kind of it is what it is, and this is what we're doing. At such a like young age, definitely like got my gears going and gave me some like good empathy skills for sure. Probably New York State of Mind after that. It's just a classic, and it's like everything I like in hip hop. I just love Nas's flow over it, and then One Time for Your Mind and then Represent are just so like lighter in a way. They're just like kind of boppy and like get your head going, and it's not necessarily as serious as Life's a Bitch or New York State of Mind. So yeah, I would say that's my top 5 right there.
Nice. That's funny.
Are we matching? Do we have the exact same 5?
Well,
not the
Chancy,
exact same 5.
What are your top 5 there, Chancy? I'm dying to hear.
So no, not the exact same 5, but you listed, let's see, 2, 3, 4. You listed 4 out of the 7 songs that I have. I chose a couple of honorable mentions, but number 7 for me was "It Ain't Hard to Tell."
Great.
And then number 6 was "Halftime."
Mm-hmm.
And then my number 5 was "Represent." My number 4 was "One Time for Your Mind." My number 3 was "New York State of Mind." My number 2 was "The World Is Yours," and my number 1 was "Life's a Bitch."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like I told her about the episodes are going to happen for Disney.
Well, my top, actually, I had 2 honorable mentions because I had to. It's Nas, and actually, I actually realized very fast I haven't heard most of this album. Like I've heard some hits off it, but I haven't heard most of it because it was never. Back then, I never really dove deep into full albums. There's very few albums that actually made that like thing where I actually listened to the whole album over and over again. But my first honorable mention was "One Love" because that was like a cool song. It was a cool song. It wasn't amazing, but it was a good song.
That was a good
And
song. I will give you that.
The World Is Yours, my other honorable mention. I feel like if I listen to that more and more, I probably will love it more and more. Because I did love it initially. It was really high up initially, but it got knocked down as the album went on. And I mean, it's a good song though. I like the message. But I like the message of number 5 even better, and that's "Life's a Bitch," because that's one of the truest things in the world. That's what my mom used to tell me since I was a kid. So, I mean, Nas speaks truth in that one. Number 4 is "Represent," because that song was fucking amazing. Like his flow in that shit is beyond good.
Hell yeah.
Number 3 was the one song I know I've heard before because it was in, I believe, NBA Street Volume 2, if I'm not mistaken. And that's "New York State of Mind." And being from mid-state New York originally, of course, everybody in New York knew New York State of Mind. If you were a fucking kid growing up in the 90s, you knew New York State of Mind because, I mean, we all clung to Biggie and any New York rapper. So, but number 2 was "Halftime" because I think I've actually heard that before. I don't, but my top 3 are actually the ones that are all on multiple brackets for being an amazing rap song. So "Halftime" is on a lot of rap brackets, and I kept seeing it. I'm like, do I know that song? Like, there's a lot of songs in there. Like, I don't know that. I don't know if I know them by like not known by name, but known by like once I hear them. And that was definitely one of the ones like I recognized the beat immediately. I was like, oh yeah. And then number 1 for me was "It Ain't Hard to Tell." Like I thought that was a bomb way to close the album out.
Memory Lane. That was another one that I remember standing out to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that was a bomb ass finale track for that album. And I mean it's definitely. I like I said before, I like more where Nas went after this album for a couple albums, but I don't know. I gotta go check out some of his newer shit and see if he still got the flow. I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he even got better with time. So we'll see. We'll see. I gotta go add a couple of those classic tracks I love to my list as well. But well, I guess that's the first album. I guess now it's time for Chancy to talk about an album I know he's been dying to talk about for a long time on this show. But Chancy, what album did you want to bring and why?
Now it's time for our lesson. I actually chose the EP by Black Alicious, A2G, and I am one of the I'm a super dumb nerd for Gift of Gab. Just such a also such a tragedy.
Yeah.
I always thought that, because everybody always talks about how when Eminem does a track with like a feature on somebody's track, he bodies them. I would have loved to have seen that spiral. I would have fucking loved to have seen fucking Gab and Eminem do a call and response just even if it was just one track. That would have been just perfectly fine with me. And I mean, I love it's one of those things where like everybody's first real exposure to anything from this album is Alphabet Aerobics, which of course, but like going back and listening to the album for the show, I love the construction of the EP.
Yeah.
Because it's like, the first one with A2G on the like the opening track, it's like the learning to walk element. And then, you've got Clockwork that goes into like a bit more of a crawl run, and then all the other stuff is like preemptively building up to let you know about it. And then you have the fall, the pride before the fall, and then the fall during Deception, and then working it back up to the top slot, and then the piece de resistance for the entire album. And just outside of that, just the artistry of Gab is it fucking just case in point, like on one, I don't remember which track it is specifically, but there's like a 30 or 40-second clip of nothing but samples where it's just everybody talking about either having the gift of gab or talking about gift of gab. And it's just like, yes, please, thank you. May I have some more? It's a real shame that if I'm not mistaken, I believe he passed from like kidney failure.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, like 2021. Yeah,
motherfucker.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's I was really stoked when I saw this record on here because I hadn't listened to it since like 2005 or 6 or something like that. And I was sitting with it and just like, man, this like lyrical miracle like thing that was happening in the late 90s and early 2000s. And this was some of like the best examples of it. And what's sad, well, not sad, a lot of people know alphabet aerobics because I Googled it. I was like, I've heard this before. A lot of people know alphabet aerobics because I think Harry Potter, like Daniel Radcliffe.
Yep. Daniel Radcliffe.
Like,
yep.
10 years ago. Like, good for him. Like that. Good for him that he has great taste in music.
He pulled it the fuck off too. Like it was.
He did it. Yeah, but people should go back and listen to this whole EP because it's fucking brilliant. Yeah. Now this is excellent and a great, just like a seminal example of like 90s hip hop for me. So I was stoked to see it on there. As far as a top 5, is that where we're going? Or
that comes in a little bit, but see, I never heard of this at all until Chancy put Alphabet Aerobics on his list of sex songs for our sex song bracket a couple Valentine's days ago.
Yeah, I threw that in there just to fuck with people because just because of the tempo, like it's just like yeah. And people are like, who does this? And you know what? I love my girlfriend so very much because she had overheard this and fucking comes in on the fucking chat and she's like, me. Bam!
Yep.
It's like it says in the song, holla at you, homeboy.
And I swear to God, though, because like when I was listening to the playlist for that bracket way back when, I think this was towards the end of it. Like, and I think every time I got to this song, I kind of like was in the middle of something or someone was talking over it, and I never heard it fully. And then today on the way home, from work, I finally heard it fully, and I was just like, okay, I get why he put it on a sex song bracket now. I really do. And the whole album like blew me away because like at first I was just like, oh, this is gonna be one of Chancy's joke fucking albums, and like I turned it on and I'm like listening to it and I'm like, this is actually pretty damn fire beats. This is fire flow. This is fire lyrics. I'm like, why weren't these guys bigger in the 90s and early 2000s than they were? Like, why didn't they get bigger? Because I mean, I never even heard of Blackalicious until Chancy brought it to my attention. Like, I never even heard the name. So they obviously didn't get huge. And I was watching MTV music videos and VH1 music videos back then. So if they had videos and shit out, I would have seen them. But I mean, just like it seems like they didn't have any exposure back then, like they should have. Maybe they just didn't get big enough. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get signed the right labels. Who the fuck knows? But
I'm not 100% about it, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe the song Deception kind of breaks that down a little bit. Not necessarily like what happened, but like as a meteoric rise to a fall to a redemption song.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, but I was actually blown away by this album. It's the only album where I actually ranked every track. I mean, yeah, there's only 7 tracks, but I still ranked every track on this one just because I had to. But Chancy, what were your top 5 in this one before I break it down for mine? And Miguel breaks his down first.
So I also did all 7. So my number 7 was Making Progress. Number 6 was Rock the Spot. And my number 5 was Back to the Essence. Like those 3 for me were actually kind of my mids for the album, and just in my own opinion anyway. And then 4-1 really almost interchangeable except for number 1. But like number 4 was Clockwork. Clockwork was just fucking solid lyricism, exquisite, it was just like a great segue from the opener track, which that was my number 3, which is A2G. And my number 2 is Deception because of the entire structure of the song. It tells a wonderful, well, I shouldn't say it tells a wonderful story. It's wonderful at storytelling through music and lyricism. And also, I mean, The Gift of Gab had everything, including The Gift of Gab. And then number 1 is just naturally Alphabet Aerobics because it's just, for me, it's the bookend. Like it's just the piece de resistance. Like you get a little taste right there in the opening track on A2G, and then you get a little bit more something with it in Clockwork, and then it kind of gives you that midway bump through, and then you hit Deception, and then you're like, oh shit, we're back on track, and then it kind of drags down a little bit until you get to the end with Alphabet Aerobics, and then it's like, we're fucking back, boys. And then like there's so many quotable lines that are so awesome. Aside from the very first one, artificial amateurs aren't at all amazing. Like that's just fucking yes. And then what is it? Idolizers imitate, I intimidate. Like fuck, dude. Like that's fucking sick. Especially like when it came out. I mean, it's like there were like the only other person that made me feel the way listening to Black Alicious made me feel was like KRS-One and those style of guys, like I was talking about when I was talking about with Nas. Like the fact that he the beat, like for Alphabet Aerobics, just for the basic form of discussion, he's working with the tempo and the beat, but standalone, he himself is just, yeah, he's his own section of the band. It's like he's like the whole horn section, all the horns, and just I've made it a personal mission to try and learn it by heart to where I can just like kick it out, yeah, and it's just so tough because you got to keep up the time.
Yeah. Well, what were your top 5, Miguel? Because Chancy's mind had like some differences, so I'm trying to see what yours are.
Yeah. So coming up at number 5, I had my handwriting is chicken scratch. Rock the Spot. What I wrote down next to it, because I was trying to write down like ideas of like why Rock the Spot just felt like something you would hear like at like a roller rink. Like my folks are just going around, and it's just kind of like a cool chill dance track, which was just fun. And you do get all some of those like the amazing flow and everything like that, but it just felt like a bit more grounded and chill. At number 4, Making Progress. Just a solid song, honestly. 3, A2G. I love that piano sample. Like that, it's such a great piano sample. I'm biased, obviously, but like that shit always speaks to me.
I am also a huge sucker for a wonderful sample, whether it's like a piece of medium, like a media, like something like a clip from a movie or a sample of a different song. I'm fucking here for it. It's so awesome.
Hell yeah. 2, Deception. The hook is just like stellar. And it's one of those times you actually get like harmonies during the hook. Like there's like you get multiple voices doing the thing, and like they're actually going in separate places, which I always appreciate. I think that just got me. And then number one is Alphabet Aerobics, because like it's just insane. Like I was showing someone it earlier, and I was like walking them through like what was happening, because they were like, "Wait, what is happening right now? Are they like going through the alphabet?" I'm like, yes, and speeding up and doing all this other stuff, and like doing some really interesting musical work. I really like how you put it. Like he is his own section, and it's something that like for me, like both Nas and Black Alicious gave that our third record doesn't always give is like rhythmic variation when it comes to the flow. Like there's so much like stuff going on that can catch your interest and catch your attention, so that when there is a cool moment in the sample that like during a pause, it really like speaks out. If your flow is always the same, it's not going to actually like do anything for you. So
right.
Yeah.
That for sure.
Definitely. But
there was honestly a few times where I would listen, because like I've listened to Alphabet Aerobics on numerous occasions just trying to memorize the song. But like once you start getting into it and just listening to it just for the sake of listening to it, there are times where you just stop hearing the beat and all you hear is Gab, and he's just fucking a human metronome.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like that type of stuff blows my mind. Like lyrics are always like, I don't touch them, I don't do them. That's not my vibe. So when someone comes in with this like prowess, just like hold my beer, like just like watch this, like mentality, it's like, yeah, all right, well, there's a reason you do what you do and I do what I do. That's because that's freaking nuts. That's insane. Yeah, the ones I didn't mention, Clockwork. I mean, they're all solid. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like Clockwork and Back to Essence were fine for me. I just find them in comparison to the other ones, they just didn't pop as much.
Yeah,
but like to each their own, for sure.
Honestly, if I would have just kept it at 5, our 5 would have been pretty fairly similar. But for me, just like since I had to put 2 entries at the bottom of the pile, I went with Rock the Spot and Making Progress, mostly just because of the fact that, like you had said, Rock the Spot really just kind of felt like not only is it something you would hear at a roller rink, but like Making Progress and Rock the Spot, I don't know what it is. Like I must be missing something. I'm going to go back and listen to Making Progress again just to see what it is I'm missing. But Rock the Spot specifically, I definitely picked up like almost like a phoned in vibe. Just like hey, we gotta make, we gotta cut to this demographic. Here's a great song for it. And they just were like, like, okay, let me just whip up something real quick. I'll go over here and mishmash some lyrics, and here we go. And it's not that it's a bad song or anything like that by any means. It's just like it felt to me just it felt phoned in. Out of anything that was really there, it was kind of like we need something that they can play in a roller rink, for example.
For sure.
Well, speaking of everybody's own opinion, it's time for my top 7 ranked here. And my 2 honorable mentions, I'm going to say, didn't really do it for me. Like, they just were the 2 songs in the EP that didn't do it for me, really. And the first one was Rock the Spot. And the second one was Deception.
See, this is the portion where Miguel understands the complete lack of any taste that Jeremy has in anything, anything musically, holy or wholesome or awesome in any capacity.
I mean, I will say Deception was at least something I dug somewhat. Rock the Spot, not at all. But my number 5 was Back to the Essence, because it was all right. The flow and the beat were pretty sick. My number 4 was Making Progress, because that was a fucking awesome track. The lyrics behind it were awesome. Number 3 was A2G, because that's a great way to open a fucking CD. That was incredible.
Yeah.
My number 2 was Clockwork, because that blew me the fuck away. Clockwork blew me the fuck away. I fucking loved Clockwork. And of course, my number one had to be Alphabet Aerobics because that's not something you ever hear. That's a unique song that can't be really like duplicated or copied. Like no one else has done anything similar to that with that being able to keep the flow like that. And yeah, I mean, there are definitely some rappers I'd love to see him go up against, like, and go back and forth with. And it's a shame that he didn't do more. It's a shame he didn't do more collabs and stuff. I mean, he would have been great. I would love to hear a metal version of that song too, with him doing the lyrics. Put fucking amazing guitarists behind him and just have him do that, but like with those amazing guitarists. I mean, I got a few I could think of, but he could do it, and it would be fucking metal shit. But I don't know. That was just a thought I had. And the sad thing is, I hear that song, and all I can picture is Chancy's bed squeaking. But
that's the real nuclear option. You just ruined Alphabet Aerobics for him, man. What are you doing?
That's all right.
I mean, I could actually hear Chancy rapping it too while the bed's getting squeakier and squeakier and squeakier. Like, I could totally see it. But I guess
helps me keep time.
I guess it's time to go to my album in a second. But
Chancy,
what guitars do you think would be good on that song? I want to hear your opinion.
I'm not 100% on that, but before we get to that, I'll say this is the portion of the show where I like to say we've gone through the quality, and now we get to the quantity. However, no, I've been thinking about it since you actually brought it up, Jeremy. I am not, honestly, the only guitar player that I can think of that I think would really do enough justice to do the Alphabet Aerobics would have been Tom Morello. Because you can't just take Alphabet Aerobics and transplant it like you would say with, Public Enemy when they did that collab with Anthrax, or Run DMC who did with Aerosmith or anything like that. But like, you can't just take. You can't. Well, like my main argument for it is you can't take the fucking turntables out of that song.
No, yeah,
the scratch is required. So yeah, it would probably have to be Tom Morello for the unique ability that he has for making sounds with a guitar and an amp and effects, of course. But still, I mean, like that actually, now that I think about it, I think that would actually be pretty fucking cool. Like, get Tom Morello on the guitar and like Les Claypool on the bass, and let's see, I can't really think of two, like, because the drum, like you'd have to have a really good drummer because of not necessarily just for keeping up the time with the up tempo, but the ability to maintain the slow note at the front end of the song. Because like, you can get any metal player to keep up time with the back end of the song where it gets faster and faster and faster and faster. But yeah, like Michael was bringing up on the last bracket that we had, it takes a lot of talent for a drummer to play a slow beat on time consistently for an extended period of time.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah,
I was a drummer in band in school and shit. And like, that is hard. Like you just want, you instinctively want to go faster. Like, it's just the way it is. And I could still picture the fucking band leader fucking up there, like, tell me, like, slow the fuck down. Like, it's just one of those things. But
and like the filler, like, and fills with improvising and stuff like that, like the urge to do that is almost unbearable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just holding on to the pocket and just sitting in it at a slow tempo is like, if you can find a drummer that can do that, you probably can't, because they're working. So someone
right. Yeah. Right.
Well, folks, I guess it's time for the coup de grace of the amazing final album we have. And you know, I when when me and Miguel co-partnered and decided to bring Nas, um, I I'm like, all right, it came out in '94. I'm like, what do I know that came out in '94 that I haven't already picked? Because I think we already did a '94 rap episode a while back. Because I'm like, oh, like Snoop Dogg's on there, Doggy Style. Yeah, I brought that before. I'm like, yeah, there's a couple. I had a couple options I was thinking, considering, but then I'm like, you know what? There's certain earlier albums by an amazing band that I haven't brought on yet, and this is one of them that really needs to get attention paid to it. So I'm like, fuck it, let's bring out the Ringmaster by Insane Clown Posse, their second studio album, which is actually the album that really got them noticed and got them fans outside Detroit. And their first music video that they wait till 3 in the morning to see play on MTV. So, I mean, it's a classic. It's a classic. It's right before they went like worldwide famous. It's the album before that album, which was already on the show before, but it was kind of like where they started getting more and more popular, and they actually had people outside Detroit that started knowing their name. So I had to bring it because it's just classic ICP, and anybody who listens to this show knows I'm a juggalo to my dying day. And old school ICP I will rep any day of the week. Some of the newer stuff I don't exactly get behind, but the older stuff I will rep to any day of the week. Just like I know my co-host will as well, because he has his limits, but there are certain things he still respects. And this is a classic album. I was kind of curious to see what Miguel would think of it, because bringing Nas, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of going to go the opposite direction, but it's still rap, so it still counts.
All right. So when I saw this selection, two things ran across my mind. One, he doesn't know that I don't like clowns.
That's even better. Oh, that's even better.
Not that he would. Like why would you know, right, Jeremy? Like, but it was like
the clowns told me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they got in there. But I was sitting with that, like, yeah, I've never checked I've never checked out the ICP. Like, I've been aware of it. I think anyone who's aware of music is aware of ICP, right? But for the the record itself, I was sitting with it, and I was it's not my vibe. It's not for me necessarily. There are things about it that I like found some pleasure in and enjoyed. It was like it kind of felt like Beastie Boys without like some of their like crazy energy, but with more clowns and violence, like, which sure, like why not, right? And I also, the other thing was like I recently, maybe the last 5 or 6 years, I have started to watch and enjoy horror movies, but like for most of my life I was like, I don't need horror movies in my life. So this like
same.
Yeah, but so this like horrorcore clown rap isn't necessarily my vibe. But I listened through the whole way through, made some notes, so I have some thoughts to share. Not necessarily my thing, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, you have to listen to like all the first 6 albums they do to really get like the message behind it all and why they're doing it. But I mean, you can kind of pick it up without it, but it's not in this album. This album, they were not kind of really preaching the message 100% yet. They were preaching more, well, lessons of a different kind. And I mean, it worked. But let's hear what Mr. Greif has to say, because it's always a pleasure. And I love how the light in his room seemed to dim as soon as you said that Beastie Boys went with that.
No, that must have been just me tilting my head or something, fucking with the the
Uh,
aperture.
it looked like you tilted your head right when you said Beastie Boys. You're like,
I was thinking about it. Well,
you're like,
yeah,
was
I
this
mean,
motherfucker just compare ICP
no,
to?
I was more so just thinking. I was just like, okay, well, Beastie Boys. Let's see how. Okay, well, I was thinking more along the lines of like the Beastie Boys without Rick Rubin. Like, maybe if they hadn't have met up with Rick Rubin and were left to their own devices in a New York apartment somewhere, then absolutely makes perfect sense. But like, I gotta say, Jeremy, you're running real fucking low on ICP albums that I either moderately enjoyed or tolerated as a fucking youth, man.
Actually, you'd be very surprised to find out I'm not. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm not really though. Like, because I mean, when I was a angsty, 15-year-old Ute and felt the relatability to the outcast stigma, like the Carnival of Carnage, which is the first album. This album's the second album, and then like Riddlebox and just the like the first setup was pretty good. Like it had it like for that time. But then like when I was listening to it for the show, I was just like, I can't remember the name of the song that I was listening to, but I was listening to the song just thinking to myself, Jesus fucking Christ. This shit aged like milk that got left out on a fucking July afternoon in the middle of fucking Florida, man. Like, this is bad. This is so bad. And then it's just like, you're going to naturally disagree because it's your thing and that's fine. But like, it's just like, I can only take so much angsty murder. Like, it's just I mean, obviously I picked a list, of course, and I didn't even do my normal route where I go for the two shortest songs for my number one and my number two, and then ha 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 and everything like that. But no, it was
because you couldn't, because there really wasn't any short songs on this album.
there was two songs that were less than 2 minutes long that absolutely could have I think one of them made it on the list, but like not as a joke.
I was gonna say they're both good songs, so I mean
They're pretty well, one of them was anyway. But like, no, it's just like for me it's like when I look back on it, especially like in this case for this album, for this show, I say it all the time and I'll say it again. It's one of those things where I look back and I think about the person I was when I related to the music and to the album, and I think it was good, but it's good that it was. Like, there's some things that I'll remember and enjoy and have the nostalgia hit, like, the Net Game and, all those other songs that came down the line, like for stuff from the Amazing Jekyll Brothers and stuff like that. But like, it's just,
I haven't brought that
those I know you haven't, but those particular gems that I do, or I should say did enjoy, are just being inundated with the filler garbage that I don't like, or I should say that I've grown out of when it comes to this particular genre. It's just there's a lot of, as when one of the times you walked away, Miguel and I were talking about it, and like he had alluded to like a lot of similar delivery and how that in and of itself in some form or fashion took away from it because there were things that you would normally pick up that were lost because of too much of a similar delivery mechanism. Not so much to say that everything was entirely the same, but if you have like the same lyrical delivery for 3 songs, you're not necessarily going to catch the beat for those 3 songs because it's drowned out by the same delivery.
I mean, trust me, some of these songs do not hold up for me as well as they did when I was when I first started in my late teens, early 20s. Like, some of them do not hold up the same for me even. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just true. I mean, with a lot of stuff I liked back then, it doesn't hold up the same it used to be. I mean, and some stuff I hated back then holds up now better than it ever did. So, I mean, it's just, you get
Yeah, but
older and you're,
you keep going back to the well, man.
oh, because, I mean, yeah, I had other options for this show, but Ringmaster is one of those things Ringmaster's a classic to me. It's a classic and it's got a lot of their most famous hits on it. So, I mean, it's not, Carnival Carnage has a lot of lesser known hits. They're hits to
Yeah,
juggalos and people who used to be
it's
juggalos.
got those deep cuts. Yeah.
But Ringmaster, a lot of people know these songs just because they were so infamous at times. Which, I mean, I'll get to some of that in my top 5, but which I guess it's actually time for if Chancy's rant is over.
Yeah. Rant over.
Well, you might want to rant again because I got 7 honorable mentions. But
for fuck's sake. Jesus wept and then fucking dried his eyes with a purple fucking petticoat, bro.
I'll make it fast, Chancy. Just like you said, they're not but aerobics. But my first number mention was Chicken Hunting because I hate this version of Chicken Hunting. I put it on there for nostalgia purposes only. The metal version that is fucking on Riddle Box is so much better. So I mean, I just don't like this version of Chicken Hunting. Even though it was their first music video ever that they shot themselves, but it's not the best version. It gets the message across that they want to kill rednecks, but any true juggalo already knew that at this point. My next honorable mention was "Get Off Me, Dog" because I do love that fucking song. It's just like a short little sweet thing, and it's Shaggy. When Shaggy does his songs by himself, it's always a special thing. But my number 10 was House of Mirrors because House of Mirrors is fucking. I like the songs where they're like adventures. Like it's almost like a choose your option, like horror book, because it's like you can go this way and you're gonna die this way, or you can go this way and you're gonna die this way. Like, but pick your choice. Like it's, I mean, and I like any of their stuff that's actually like circus based because the circus and the carnival are creepy as fuck. So if you're in the right element for them, so House of Mirrors are definitely creepy. Like they always freak me out like a little bit if like it's dark in there and like I run to a mirror or something. It always it's like what the fuck moment. But my number 9 was Murder Go Round because that's just a classic. That's just a fucking classic. Murder Go Round, how you gonna fuck with a wicked clown? Like it's just that classic ICP rhyming. Like it fucking got them famous. And that's the sing along shit that people do at concerts. Like every juggalo that goes to a concert knows those lyrics by heart for that song. Number 8 was Southwest Song because I mean I like when they sing anything about the Southwest because it's always a good song. It's always a good rap when they do a Southwest thing. So Southwest Song's fucking amazing. And I'm pretty sure it's that one.
Ain't no redneck hoe.
And nah, it's not. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure at the end of that song is when they do the skit. What looks like a ball, but doesn't bounce like a ball. Your daddy's melon. Like I love that skit. I love that skit. That makes me laugh every time I hear it to this day. Like it's just hilarious. But my number 7 was Who Asked You because it's another short, sweet one that's fucking. It's true. People always have to put their opinion in shit, especially nowadays. And it's like, who the fuck asked you? Nobody wants your opinion. I look at the town pages on Facebook. It's like nobody asks people for their opinion. Why are they fucking telling me their opinion? I don't care what you think about this. I don't care what you think about that. Just shut your mouth and go do your life. Like you don't need to tell the world what you think about every fucking little thing that happens in town. Like Jesus Christ, it's trolls every fucking day in this world. And my last number mention was Wagon, which is actually hilarious because my coworker randomly started rapping that in the middle of the day at work the other day, and it was the same day I picked this album, but it was like a couple hours before. And maybe that's why I picked this album is because it was in my head at that moment. Like that song was in my head at that moment because he was just sitting at his desk and he was just like wagons, dead bodies dragging, and I was like, and he saw me turn my head immediately because I'm like, you're rapping ICP. I'm like he's a metalhead full and full, like a classic rap guy. ICP is not his bag, so in fact, he was rapping that made me laugh my ass off. And Wagon is a classic. It's a fucking classic. My number 5 though was, and Miguel, you might get this, and you might have it on yours for this reason too, but the Loons. It's kind of got like that horror movie element to it. Like, and I love the whole. I'm I'm 2 blocks away. I'm 1 block away. Like it's fucking creepy. Like if you listen to it at night driving and shit, like down like a dark road, it's kind of creepy as shit. But and my number 4 is in the rest of these are all really classics, but my number 4 is Mr. Johnson's Head because that is a classic ICP song that everybody knows. And I first heard that when I was in college and I fucking loved it because there were some teachers I hated and like that song. I actually think I wrote like a kind of like copycat song to that about one of my teachers. So I mean, luckily they never saw the Notebook. But I mean, I like Mr. Johnson's Head's classic. And there's a remix that's on one of the Forgotten Freshness EPs that's fucking amazing too. But it's just classic ICP. Like my number 3 was Love Song because Love Song and another love song that they did on Jekyll Brothers are fucking hilarious. Because I love love songs that don't seem like they're love songs, but they're still like fucking hilarious. And anytime ICP talks about dating or what they'll do to women is just so fucked up and so fucking hilarious, like in a fucked up way. Like it's funny in a fucked up way, like because you hope they're joking. You hope they're joking. I mean, they're ghetto street carnies, so probably not. But you hope they're joking. But and plus, it's that fucking like jazzy little bit like classical music like beat behind it is like fucking so funny to hear on the back of that song. But my number 2 is my Funhouse because it's a classic. I mean, you can't have a band called the Insane Clown Posse and not have a song called Funhouse. You can't. It just wouldn't make sense. Like my Funhouse is fucking incredible. There's another one on Great Malenko that's similar to that too. But and I love the opener to it. We found this car on the side. Well, did you try squeezing her tits? Like it's the funniest fucking intro ever to a song. Like I fucking love it. Like their comedy is always amazing in the skits. But and then my number 1 had to be the most classic song on this album, one of the first ICP songs I ever heard in high school, and that was "Bugs in My Nuts." Because I love that fucking like bass. I love that bass line with the fucking like bug sound in it. I love how catchy and how fucking like rap along bowl it is. I love the fucking because it's almost like a happy song. It's just funny. Like, and as any high school, any guy in high school, I would die laughing at every time I heard it come on like one of my mix CDs. I mean, I don't understand the phenomenon where fucking these hoes that look like phenomena. Rich boys think that ain't shit, but I'll fuck a crackhead with one tit. Like that to me is just classic lyrics. That's just classic lyrics. Like, and honestly, I had a mindset like that in my early 20s. So, like they didn't know their song on one of their EPs called Super Balls, and the course of that song is ain't no bitch too fat, ain't no bitch too whack for Super Balls. Like it's just like the theme is always just fucking hilarious. So that's brothers on the ICP that make me laugh a lot. So in this day and age, we all need laughter, Chancy. But Miguel, I'm kind of dying to hear what your top 5 are because as a non-ICP fan, really, I'm kind of dying to hear what non-ICP fan picks.
All right. So at 5, I had a. I hope this is all right. I had a tie.
Yeah.
At my Funhouse and Love Song. So Love Song. So listening to this record, I just had to like do something for myself. I was like, you know what? Like most rap and most hip hop is just like has like rampant like shitty misogyny towards women. And I'm just gonna put that over there for now. I'm just like, cool. We're just gonna. And I mean, shit. Nas does it too. Most '90s rap is just like awful to just women in general. So I'm just gonna like put that over there because it's like an equalizer.
Sure. You should go listen to Esham's first album. Holy shit!
Oh Jesus! But as soon as Love Song came on, I was like cackling because I was like, they are rapping with the same flow over like a bossa nova like jazz thing, and I'm like, that's hilarious. So yeah, and then Funhouse, there was this sax sample that sounded like a closing door. Like a horror closing door, like That was that.
Yeah,
Like,
that like
yeah,
type
but
thing.
I'm
Yeah.
almost certain that it was actually like a saxophone sped up or something like that. So that was just interesting to me overall. I'll be honest with you. Because I don't know ICP. Were like the storytelling that's necessarily going on. The lyrics didn't really do a lot for
All
me.
right. Well, I'll give you a short statement here that might help clear things up.
Sure.
The whole basic idea behind the Dark Carnival is that because ICP is actually Christian rap, as we all found out about 2002, 2001.
What?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's
right.
that's all we are. That's how most of us when we found out. But and they lost a lot of fans at that moment. But so basically the Dark Carnival is technically hell, and Shangri-La, or as they call heaven. If you're good, you go to Shangri-La. If you're bad, you have the Dark Carnival comes for you and takes care of you basically. So rednecks, bigots, wife beaters, pedophiles, like they hate on all those people and much more. Criminals, like they take down all the bad people in life. And on their sixth Joker's card, the Wraith Shangri-La, like they explain it all. Like we've been dropped, and they dropped hints in all these songs over the years that like if you're not looking for it, you don't catch it. But if you actually like when they go through all the songs that like the hints were there, like you're like, oh yeah, shit, it is a theme. I didn't even realize it. Like they even say like we put all this murder shit in just to entice you, just to make you listen.
Interesting. So
Because that's how they got their fans. That's how they got their fans. Because that's the people that want to hear that are the ones who are their fans.
So the Dark Carnival is like limbo, basically, like, and you're being judged to go into to hell. Is that
Yeah,
what
it's basically
I
hell. But yeah,
I actually I can use a horror movie reference to might possibly explain this
there
to
you go.
you.
I'm done to hear it.
The Dark Carnival would be a fucking a Timu version of the Le Merchant configuration from Hellraiser, the box.
Oh, true. Yeah.
You have to, because in one of the songs it talks about like how your deeds brought you to the carnival, and then essentially in the movie you have to do a lot of really bad, like you got to do bad shit, and then the person who's the protector of the box presents it to you for you to either purchase or get in some capacity, and then you're then in hell.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, that's a good analogy. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. Like it's your judgment. Like in the when they came back in 2009 with their next set of Joker cards because the world had more evil and they had to come back. And it's just a good marketing ploy. But they basically had this carnival like big event in the desert, Bang Pow Boom, where like the whole album is them gathering pedophiles and wife beaters and rednecks and like getting and like telling them they won money and shit to get them to come here, and then they just explosions everywhere. So basically, it was a mass cleanup.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I grew up pretty religious, so all that makes sense to me. Thanks. Thank you. I hit all tracks now. Word. So, for number 4, yeah, Murder Go Round. Really dug the sample. There's a cat in there somewhere, which is pretty funny, and the bass line's pretty cool. Number 3, Southwest Song. Yeah, it just felt like a solid track overall. And like, again, not my deal, but it's one of those things that I'm like, all right, that's fine. Chicken Hunting was number 2 for me. They had a lot of funky stuff going on, like some James Brown drum stuff going on, the organ, which is pretty cool.
In the metal version of that, in the next album, they actually have Slash play guitar.
Oh no shit! Yeah, that word, that makes sense. And then number 1 is actually "Get Off Me, Dog" for a very similar reason to number 2, because it's just kind of funky, but it's also short. And it's so many of the songs on the record were like, like 4.5 minutes plus. up that like it just kind of keeps going. And if you don't know the lore, and if you're not like getting touched by the message, I guess it's just it drags a little bit. So when Get Off Me Dog comes on, it's this like kind of fun, funky thing, and then it's kind of like a almost like a palate cleanser for a second. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That was it brought me from one place to another, and now I'm like kind of ready for this next bit. So I can definitely say that ICP isn't my thing, but I'm appreciating that like it's your like childhood bag. And like
I mean,
that's
not even childhood for me. It was like late.
Yeah, no,
teenage years, early
it's still his thing, but yeah, for me it was
I mean, I don't go to work every day wearing an ICP hat and shit like I used to. I still wear the shirts once in a while, but I don't try to talk to everybody I meet about it like I used to. Like I used to literally just hype them every time I talk to anybody. Like you need to check these guys out. Like because I mean, I honestly, I mean, they have gotten a lot of recognition and achievement over the past like 25 years because they've been rapping as long as since NWA was a thing. So I mean, they've been around for fucking ever. Them and Esham were the first hardcore rappers, really. So, I mean, well, besides a few songs here and there by other artists that aren't really hardcore rappers, but so I mean, they've been around and they've gotten recognition. Detroit gave them a lifetime. The city of Detroit gave them a fucking lifetime achievement award because of how much they've done. I'm pretty sure Eminem hasn't got one of those yet. So, I mean, because they actually, I mean, they do a lot for Detroit. They took the money they earned and they put a lot of it back into Detroit and shit because it's their home. And that's if you read Violent J's book, like he fucking loves Detroit. Like he loved growing up there. I mean, he had a horrible childhood, but he loved growing up there still because it was his city. And like he just, I mean, it's funny. Like everything Detroit's put out, they've touched in some way or form, either making fun of it, either having rivalries with it, or even doing like freaking features on their albums and vice versa. I mean, Kid Rock was on their first album.
Yeah, Kid Rock was on Carnival Carnage, yeah.
And I mean, Esham's been on like a lot of their shit because he was signed to their label for a minute. But so I mean, a lot of Detroit is involved in their stuff too, and they're hardly recognized. I mean, I believe I don't know. There's a huge petition going around right now that's got a lot of signatures to get them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I signed it years ago, but I mean, I still see it passed around on Facebook. There's already like 20, 30,000 signatures on it. So like they've been recognized. And there's exactly what the world needed in the late 90s, along with like Marilyn Manson and all that type of stuff to kind of like, same as Marilyn Manson in the fucking 60s. Like it's that culture shock that needs to come every once in a while to wake people up. So I think they did a lot, but Chancy, what were your top 5?
So for the sake of having honorable mentions for every other album, I chose one for this one. And that's Love Song. Just because another Love Song I always preferred that one over this one.
Oh god. Oh god. Squeeze my balls and I'm yours. Yeah, I mean that's definitely the better way to do it, but
so my number 5, it makes me angry, but you'll understand why in a second. So number 5 is Southwest Song, and it makes me angry because how fucking dare they take a sample of Mr. fucking Rogers and put it on their fucking where they put their trashy, dingy fucking hands on Mr. fucking Rogers and they put it into a fucking song. How fucking dare they?
The skit at the end. I'm trying to think like what the fuck is he talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, the skit at the end.
No. Literally the quote at the very beginning of the song is sample lines from an episode of Mr. Rogers that's ran through like an effect that kind of makes it sound like it's got a problem with it.
Oh,
you
don't like to hurt people like kid, do you? Like that whole thing?
Everyone gets a little mad and do bad things.
I never knew. I never knew that was Mr. Rogers. I just assumed it was like a freaking phrase they came up with.
It's the quotes.
Uh-huh.
Because of it being something else, it's in quotations. And also having the ear, it's like I grew up on Mr. Rogers, man. Like, you could fucking play Mr. Rogers 3 fucking doors down. I'd be like, yo, Mr. Rogers. But I heard that and I was just like, I'm putting this on as my number 5 just so I can bring it up and bitch about it.
You would. You would.
Number 4 for me was the Dead one. That was.
I knew you'd like that one.
Well, yeah, because it's not exactly like a lot of those repetitive style ones that are. I'm just saying.
No, but you know what's fucking hilarious? If you're blasting the shit in your car like late at night, like midnight, 1 in the morning on your way home or something, and that song's come on, like the whole song's so low, like, and then like right at the end it just hits you with that "You're dead, bitch!" like loud as fuck. It's like, what the fuck? I literally like been on the road and be like, what the fuck? Like, it's just like it comes out of nowhere. Like, if you don't know it's coming, and I always would forget it's coming at that point, so it'd just be like, oh my god, it almost got to shit you if you're driving with that shit blasting and you don't realize that that's coming. Oh my god, just this volume difference. I think they did that for purpose. I'm pretty sure, but.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely did that to get you, get a little jump scare out of you. Number 3 for me was House of Mirrors. I mean, honestly, number 3 and number 2 are basically where they are because I refused to put them at number 1. Number 3 was House of Mirrors. Number 2 was My Fun House. Both of them are, honestly, if you're talking about this album, between Love Song, Fun House, House of Mirrors, you know, Murder Go Round, those are kind of like those often talked about tracks on the album. For me, my number 1 though was For the Maggots.
Yeah, it's For the Maggots is a classic, but like
I liked it because it was different. Like, it was clever. Like, it was different. It was like, it was one of those other kind of shorter ones that was like, it didn't make it feel like a skit. Kind of like how Get Off Me Dog kind of did the same thing.
Yep. I mean, yeah, it's a good song. I'm honestly surprised you didn't like Bugs My Nuts.
No, because I mean, for me, like, so okay, I think this partially has something to do with what I had brought up the last time, is that there's been so much horrorcore and ICP that has come across that, like, you know, I probably would have either found it amusing or appreciated something about it, but just so much of the gratuitousness of it is just kind of like, yeah, I'm, you know what, I'm kind of fucking over it. Like, Murder Go Round, fucking, okay, I'm kind of fucking over it.
Murder Go Round was definitely better the first few times I heard it. Definitely. I mean, it's one of those songs that just like, it's just like, I used to rap along with it, and I'm just like, eh.
And then also, like, you know, you had brought it up earlier, but what was it, Mr. Johnson's Head?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I thought that was actually kind of an interesting. I didn't put it on my list, but I thought that it was in fact interesting because while it was still, you know, of that gratuitous nature and of the similar delivery for the first couple 3 Joker cards, like, and that's another thing too, is that you could see a bit of a progression from them between 1, 2, and 3 as far as how they did their thing, what they did, but they would still get kind of caught in these mires of like Miguel and I were talking about with the repetitive lyrical delivery, or like, you know, beat styling, or a combination of lyrical delivery with content.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing what they knew would sell. That's basically what they were doing. They knew it would sell, and I mean, Mr. Johnson's Head's just fucking classic. The remix is a little bit better because they add a little bit of like more instrumental in like the middle of it, and it makes it like kind of flow better. But
yeah, that'd be interesting.
And I mean, what kid in high school didn't have a teacher they fucking hated with no disregard for what happened to that person? Like, every kid has that one teacher they can't fucking stand. So I mean, it's a song that kids are gonna pick up and be like, oh, I like this. Like, I can relate to this. And I mean, same thing Marilyn Manson did. Like, he saw what was gonna make parents angry and kids were gonna love, and he took it and ran. So, but yeah, it got a better reception from Chancy than I well, got basically the same reception from Chancy. I kind of figured it would, and I'm just happy Miguel actually somewhat enjoyed it to some degree. I mean, trust me, I brought light horrorcore. I didn't bring horrorcore, regular horrorcore max.
You know, the honestly, the sad part is he's not fucking joking.
Oh, I'm not. I mean, I literally know songs about them about people wanting to go back and kill Jesus in the womb. So,
Yeah.
like, I got some
Yeah.
dark shit, but
100%. But here's a question for me. As I was like listening to this record, I was kind of sitting with it, and I was thinking like, this isn't the optimal way to like listen to this. I feel like I'm assuming you've gone to ICP shows,
a couple.
He has.
right? And I feel like live with like the theatrics. I read up a little bit, and like they were like into wrestling and shit, right? Like there's like a
They
theatrical
still are.
to what they to what they do, right? So I almost feel like, and again, I didn't like truly. If you were to ask me like yes or no, did I enjoy it? I'd have to say no.
Yeah, of course.
But like this is not the optimal way to take this in, like in community with your folks, like live at a live show.
Oh,
with the
trust me.
shit going on. Like
if I took you to an ICP concert, even nowadays, and got a couple drinks in you, you'd be having a blast when they came on stage. Trust me. Like you just get caught up in the revelry of it all because it's just you're surrounded by people that love this. I mean, it's like being around Deadheads. It's like being around any of the most like biggest. It's like being around like it's same as being around like fucking Michael Jackson fans, like Elvis fans. Like it's that pandemonium that sweeps when that person comes out because these people worship this act, and like plus to get soda balls shot through the air at you, to have all this confetti and shit flying out of the sky at certain points. I mean, there's literally Fagel breaks in the middle of the fucking set where it's just people won't watch it. This part might freak you the fuck out, but it's literally just a bunch of people in clown costumes coming out like spraying you all with Fagel soda and fucking shooting Fagel balls at you, and the lights are like flashing like a horror movie. So it might freak you out a little bit if you don't like clowns, but.
Me and clowns are cool now. It was more like a kid thing, but I was laughing. When I saw it, I was like, "This is hilarious." I would never ever listen to it. But yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Their concerts are fun. Like my cousin's not a juggalo in the fucking slightest. He doesn't even really like ICP, but he loves going to the concerts with me because it's just always a blast. And like the people you meet are the coolest fucking people in the world. Like randomly, people just come up and talk to you, be like, "What up, bro?" Like even though you never met this person in fucking life, like they act like you're like everybody's best friends. And you'll see a lot of strange fucking shit at those concerts too. But
hell yeah, and that's something I love about most like any like alternative
fandom
rock,
yeah,
like fandom. And when I say alternative, I'm talking like punk or like pop punk or whatever. Like, those dudes are like the nicest people you ever meet. Metal people, nice people you ever meet, who are like super like down to earth, willing to have like a really open like ended conversation. They just want to get up and like break shit, and that's fine. Like go do your thing. That's really cool. Some of the nicest musicians and people I've ever met play like crazy shit that like if like a relative of mine ever looked at it, they'd be like, "Oh my god, Satan! Oh no," that kind of shit. But
yeah,
that isn't indicative of like who they are as people. It's just like
it's funny as fuck that it's funny as fuck that people used to think that about ICP and like they try to get him canceled in the late '90s, but then they come out like, "No, we're religious. Fuck you all. Like you could call us Satan all you want. We're religious. Fuck you." Like, and they still said to this day that they weren't kidding. Like they still say to this day it's all true. Like they were brought up Christian and they are Christian. So, and that they are because Violent J literally says in his book that the whole idea for the Dark Carnival came to him in a dream, and that's where it all started. I mean, and he's not the type of person I think that really would make shit up like that because he has nothing to gain. He's not going to get like on Oprah because he did that, so he's not going to gain anything from it.
So my question, my follow-up question off of what you're saying is, so was this dream, did it happen to occur after he had read What Up magazine? Word Up magazine, I mean?
It was in like 80 something, so I have no fucking idea, but
No, that was making a Biggie reference. It was all a dream. Used to read Word Up magazine.
Oh well, okay. That also came out like 8 years after ISP started rapping. So yeah.
Yeah, I know that. But you said it came to him in a dream, so I immediately
Well,
thought it was all a dream. Did it happen after he fucking read Word Up magazine, Jeremy? Answer the fucking question.
No, but,
Okay, then he did not. Shit.
Well, folks, it's been a fun night discussing 3 great albums. Shut up, Chancy. But it's been a great show.
We had 2 good albums and then an honorary something.
But Miguel, we want to thank you for coming on, brother. It's been a fun show. If you ever want to come on again, definitely drop a line and we have you on. And I promise I won't bring clowns.
No, I appreciate y'all having me on. This is a lot of fun. It's like an exercise. Just take down an album, immediately talk about it. I love that shit. So yeah, I would totally come back on. So thanks for having me. Y'all.
Yeah, love
Our
to
pleasure.
have you. Good time.
Where can people find you? Where can they find your podcast, your music, anything you want to promote? Feel free to promote.
Sure. So if you check out my name, Miguel Landestoy, MiguelLandestoy.com. It has links to some of my music, some live videos. It also has links to both of the podcasting projects, all that good stuff. You can also hit me up on Instagram at Miggle Wiggle, which I made that up in middle school, and here
that's so awesome. Never change it.
I won't. I will not.
Tell me that's what you told girls in high school. You're gonna get the Miggle Wiggle.
I'll tell you off air. But yeah, that's me, y'all. So check it out if you're into nerdy shit and want to hear people, artists of color talk. Check it out. If you want to hear artists of color talk about nerdy shit, check out Play Black on all your podcast streaming stuff.
There you go, folks. And Chancy, where can they find you besides bathing the fires of hell like right now?
Well, I mean, Instagram, TikTok, it's the Red Eye Roundtable. On X, it's Red Eye Table, and here in this place, there is no escape.
There is not. And of course, folks, the Scavenger Hunt is always still on for Chancy, so try to find him if you can.
Yeah. If you can find me on Facebook, because this is my actual first name. So if you can find me, and if the option is if they find me, they get to, give me an album, and then if it hasn't been brought on, then I bring it on. There's been 3 people that have found me, and we're like, hey. And I faithfully bring the albums, even if it's something I don't like. It's like, hey, man, I didn't fucking do it. I made the rules, so I gotta, abide by them.
Hell yeah, consistency is key.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you can find both your musers on Facebook as Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective. You can find us on the Gram and X Baby as that Juggalo Bastard. You can find us on TikTok as that Juggalo Bastard Podcast, and you can find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings. And of course, we are proud members of the Blind Knowledge Network and Parapost Network, because all knowledge was blind until Chancy got sprayed in the face with some Fago. Have a good night, everybody.